So I figured since I'm doing a bunch of other videos, I might as well cover my motor also. Here it is, a 3.5 out of a 06 G6. It's marked for the forged crank that these things came with. You can see my double rollers on there already. I just finished putting the turbo cam in there with a fresh set of cam bearings. They were starting to wear down a little bit, starting to show some bronze, copper, whatever you want. So I got these through Wotech. They're actually small block Chevy ones, so they're a little wider, and they actually fill the space where the bearings sit better. You can see my, here's the old stop cam. Not looking too healthy itself. As you can see, there are parts everywhere. Swap the car around. Camaro's at the exhaust shop, so here's part of the SCT kit. It's the rear lip we gotta put on. And we've got the front lip on. It's just kind of chilling there. Need a couple more bolts. Didn't come with hardware, so I'm kind of guessing. But after much fuss and fighting, the new valve springs are on. I have the heads kind of sitting there. I gotta torque them down. The valve springs are Comp Cam 26918. Just some stock heads for now. Eventually I'll get them ported. But to save time on this build, we'll just leave them alone. You can see my TCE double roller. The block, crank, and timing cover need modified to use this, but mine already came modified, something with the taper on there and all that jazz. Right now I'm kind of working on my sending units, trying to figure out how I'm going to run them. I have oil pressure and oil temp to use on that side in the block. That's going to be strictly for the oil feed on the turbo. I don't want to tee off of that any more than I have to. See, the pan's still off. I'm going to try something different to get to the bolts a little better. So that's pretty much it with that so far. Here's the timing cover, still just kind of sitting around. Got the new lifters in there. Tightening down the retainers now. Heads are torqued. Next is the lower intake manifold. Little side note before I put the intake on. These things are awesome. So much better than doing with the 34 and trying to make a bead of RTV and praying. But yeah, figure I'd point those out. Okay, intake manifold's on and torqued. I've also put the push rods in one side of rockers. Torquing those down next. See the springs and the brand new push rods. Custom length from Wotech. I believe it's 050 longer exhaust and 060 intake. I'll have to check my sheet again. But after that will be the valve covers. And then the timing cover. Alright, well before I put the valve covers on, I've got everything torqued. Timing's on. Yeah. So there we go. So in the midst of everything, I kind of forgot to update as I went here, but I guess a motor's a motor, and if you're watching this, you've probably dealt with these kind of motors before. It's just nothing new. As you see, I can have it upside down. I'm doing the oil pan right now. I got the timing cover on, tightened down. Oil pan now. Valve covers are on. And the upper won't go on just yet till it goes in the car. Just because of lifting it, I don't want to scratch it up too bad. After I flip it back over, I need to wire for the bigger injectors. I'm running 60-pound. And that'll be pretty much it for the motor, except for obviously the balancer back on, but that's not a big deal. Next, we'll just have to wait for the flywheel to come in, depending on whatever one I end up buying, and work on the car some more as far as it itself. Keeping it safe in there. As soon as I finish up a couple wiring things, I got my new gauge too. I can put the seats back in. There's the final gauge there. Should have hooked up here shortly. It'll be a part of this video. I'll bring the battery out and light everything up to make sure it all works and show you guys. Pretty legit. Okay, well, motor's done. Minus putting it in and turbo headers and wiring, power steering. Upper's just kind of on there. Wanted to see how it was going to fit with the intake spacer there. Well, spacers. Which there's lots of room now. Still touching a little bit, but not that bad. It still fit on there. Bolts went in. Spoiler is on. Ready to go. You see I got the wideband in. Just gotta test it out. And get the motor bay ready here. I'm going to clean up my cuts from the turbo and 6-speed modifications. Paint everything up, make it look half decent, and drop everything in as soon as I get my flywheel. So a little side job while wait for the flywheel to come in. Drop the tank to put the new pump in and the new fuel filter. Just a standard fuel filter, and the pump is a Wally 255. Wasn't too bad. 2 straps, 2 lines in the evap line. If you're familiar with the quick connects, and you're good to go. Otherwise, they're a blast. Here's the Wally 255. Little modification to put it on. This is actually a kit from Millsy Motorsports. So, you know, pretty basic, but we'll make it work anyway. And just a standard Wix fuel filter, which I'll get to while everything's out. Alright, here we go with the new flywheel. Brand new dual mass from a GM Parts website. I was told these are hard to find. It was, but apparently they are either being made again or there's a stash somewhere that someone didn't or couldn't find. Fuel pumps in. Pretty much 2 wires. Had to cut a hole in the bottom of the sending unit, pulled the old pump out. The Wally sticks out the bottom of the sending unit where the filter connects, and I pulled the springs off of the sending unit that's usually keeps under compression so that it wasn't going to push on the bottom of the tank so it doesn't choke itself out basically. I'm going to run a test real quick to make sure that's good to go. If that's all go, I'm going to slide the tank back in. I did the fuel filter up underneath. I'm going to go ahead and get the rear SCT lip mounted and put the car back on the ground. Beyond that, we'll go back to the engine bay and start getting the engine dressed and ready to go back in the car. So to wrap up this video, since again I keep working and forgetting to record, motor and train is in. All 4 mounts are on. I started doing, well, hopefully finished up with oil sending units that I added. Working towards axles and dressing everything. I ran into an issue with the master cylinder. The piston inside the actual master ended up getting stuck down inside. Luckily I had another one I pulled off another 5-speed car, and we're in good shape. As you can see, that's all attached, ready to go. And hopefully next video may or may not be a running video, or at least all in one piece. Till next time, we'll see you guys.